Holy cow. It's another one of those moments. I'll tell you what, there's been an enormous amount of pain, sorrow and grief over the past few years since October 7th. At the same time, Israel has shown the most, forgive my language, badass tactics and successes with the Beepers operation, getting Ismail Haniyeh in the heart of Tehran with the Iran operation, Rising Lions operation, and now this possibly one of the most significant moments of the war against Hamas. Israel has attacked Hamas leaders in Qatar. Reportedly, both Khalid Mashal and Khalil al-Hayya, who were on their list, and let's not forget, they've killed several other key Hamas figures, senior leaders now already, Sinwar Haniyeh and others. They were killed in an attack strike by the IDF on Qatari soil. Now, I do want to be clear that at this stage, it's not confirmed. Their deaths have not been confirmed yet, the deaths of these senior Hamas leaders. These are just reports. Netanyahu has put out a statement where he said, today's action against the top terrorist chieftains of Hamas was a wholly independent Israeli operation. Israel initiated it, Israel conducted it, and Israel takes full responsibility. So, again, the result of the attack, unclear, but the fact that they did it and targeted Hamas leaders inside of Qatar itself with Israeli jets and munitions, that we know for sure. And I'm sure we'll find out in due course what they managed to do. And reports are saying that both the US and Qatar approved the attack, a game changer and also a definitive end to any deal talks. Good! I sincerely hope that is the case. And I wonder if this was triggered in part by the terror attack lauded by Hamas and Palestinian Islamic Jihad yesterday in Jerusalem. This is footage of the attack, and I'll show you more footage momentarily. Hillel Ford has said these are the senior Hamas officials who attended the meeting that was attacked in Doha. Sources tell the Saudi Al Hadat channel that these are the senior Hamas officials who were present. We also learned, by the way, that a Hamas delegation convened to discuss a new American proposal that was delivered to them yesterday by the Prime Minister of Qatar. The meeting took place after some senior Hamas members returned from Turkey. Turkey, by the way, also clearly becoming an enemy of Israel, its government at least. Footage of the attack.
Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god! Sana hindi pumani yung kotse. Oh my god!
Jonathan Sakadotti wrote, for everyone who said you can't destroy Hamas, Israel's doing a good job of trying. Wherever its terrorist leaders hide, the US support for this Israeli strike targeted at Hamas leaders in Qatar is an important message it sends to terrorists and those in the rest of the world who protect them both physically or ideologically. Here's other footage of the attack. The IDF have published a statement saying the IDF and ISA conducted a precise strike targeting the senior leadership of the Hamas terrorist organization. For years, these members of the Hamas leadership have led the terrorist organization's operations, are directly responsible for the brutal October 7th massacre, and have been orchestrating and managing the war against the state of Israel. Prior to the strikes, measures were taken in order to mitigate harm to civilians, including the use of precise munitions and additional intelligence. The IDF and ISA will continue to operate with determination in order to defeat the Hamas terrorist organization responsible for the October 7th massacre. This is devastating for Hamas. Let's be clear about this. Devastating stuff. As someone commented, the US had to drop 2 nuclear bombs on Japan before they got the message and surrendered. Did Hamas just get the message, or will Israel need a second, more powerful message? You heard a title ban. Actually, before I show you this, I just want to show you this clip. This is some of the leaders, okay, who were the Hamas leadership in Qatar celebrating the October 7th massacre as it was happening.
طلع جنب الاسرائيلي سجدة الشكر ان شاء الله على هذا النصر اللهم اتم نصرك وعزتنا يا رب لشعبنا وامتنا الله اكبر.
There's Michelle in the back in the second row. There you go, celebrate it. And but by the way, for anyone who says this isn't religious, that this isn't about Islamism, and it's about it, an Islamic worldview against Judaism, basically, this shows you it certainly is what it is in their minds. Now we've said it all along. Look at this, all of Hamas's leadership, and look what's happened to them over the years since October 7th. You heard a title, bam. Historic breaking news. This morning, Israel carried out a precision strike in Doha, Qatar, targeting the political leadership of Hamas. Multiple explosions tore through the Qatar district, home to Hamas's headquarters since 2012. Israeli officials confirmed the strike and named senior Hamas leaders as targets, including Khalil al-Hayya. You know, I remember yesterday Netanyahu was saying, he said, be clear, we are going to go after Hamas and Palestinian terror in ways that you won't be able to predict or imagine. He said that just yesterday. In fairness to Netanyahu, whatever you think of him, whether your critique is from the right or the left, whatever, he does deliver on the things he says. Hamas's acting political bureau chief and chief negotiator, who was reportedly killed, several other senior members were believed to be in the building. This marks the first time Israel has struck Hamas on Qatari soil, a US allied Arab state that for over a decade hosted, funded and mediated on behalf of Hamas. The strike comes amid stalled hostage negotiations and follows Israel's recent operations against Hamas leaders in Iran and Lebanon. Also, incredible, remarkable stuff. Qatar's foreign ministry condemned the attack as a cowardly violation of sovereignty. But Israeli media report that the strike was carried out with a green light from President Trump, underscoring US-Israeli coordination at the highest levels. This is a big moment, by the way, to do this in Qatar. To state the emperor's got no clothes, to say that Qatar is complicit. Been far too much moral ambiguity around Qatar. This is unprecedented. Israel has just ended the era of safe havens for Hamas leadership abroad. From Tehran to Beirut to Doha, no capital is off limits anymore. It's an important day, an important moment. Israel is making it clear to the world through its unmatched technology, intelligence edge, and military edge that it cannot be messed with anymore. Nadav Eyal said, the assassination of Hamas officials in Qatar underscores two Israeli decisions of strategic significance. First, Qatar no longer enjoys immunity as a host for Hamas and other terrorist officials. The era of Qataris playing on both fields is over. Second, Israel has effectively dismantled the framework of negotiations for a ceasefire and a hostage deal, as they had been conducted until now through Hamas representatives abroad. With this move, the Netanyahu government signals its determination to destroy every branch of Hamas, particularly those responsible for the October 7th attacks. What remains deeply unclear is how this move advances the safe relief of the hostages, given that negotiations with the very officials who were targeted had previously produced agreements. In other words, if those interlocutors are now dead, how has the goal of releasing hostages still remained viable? No Israeli official is responding to this as of now. Well, I have to say to this point, Nadav, as I've been saying previously, Netanyahu and some others in the government have tried to pretend like destroying Hamas and rescuing the hostages are complementary goals. And sometimes, I'm afraid, they do come into conflict. And Jewish morality says you have to destroy the enemy that is threatening you and your people. Otherwise, you hold all of your people hostage. You do everything you can to try and rescue hostages, but not that will threaten the rest of your people. Because then you incentivize more terror, you incentivize more hostage taking, you release more criminals, which will lead to more bloodshed, and you end up holding all of your people hostage. The only way to get your hostages back is by bringing your enemies to its knees. Peace through strength, not negotiating with terrorists. This used to be the common sense conventional wisdom in the West. Why has it been lost among some commentators in Israel? Again, I have to keep stressing every day, the first thing on my lips in prayer is to pray for the release of the hostages, that they come home safely. But it can't be at any price. Does it make sense that the reason we've gone in on ground with so many soldiers is to get back the hostages? But are these soldiers' lives expendable? I think over 1,000 Israeli soldiers that have lost their lives to date. Or maybe it's just under 1,000. But either way, are their lives expendable? Yes, we have a solemn vow to our fellow Jews taken hostage, we also have a solemn vow to the rest of our people that we're defending. And it's complicated stuff. It's painful stuff. But one of my family members was in Israel recently listening to the mother of the boyfriend of Noah Argamani, who's still held hostage. And she said, our first priority has to be to defeat Hamas. Incredibly brave words from someone whose very child is there. It pains me that we have to have these conversations. But if you negotiate with terrorists, you incentivize terrorism and you put your people in danger. So this story, this was absolutely the right thing to do, to destroy these senior Hamas leaders. And I think that one of the big problems of prior times is we make short-term decisions that seemed good in the international community's eyes at the expense of our own people long-term, like the withdrawal from Gaza. Now Israel's learning that they can't make these short-term decisions. You do what you need to do to protect your people. End of story. The world can like it, the world can not like it. But we're going to do what we need to do. And before we get the world's like, we might just get the world's respect. We're also hearing some rumours that Trump may speak at some point soon. So we'll keep you posted on that. And let's see, clearly there's going to be more that we're going to be learning about this whole story and what happened in due course. Before we wrap up, I want to share something important with you. The entire anti-Israel movement is built on one central accusation, that in 1948, Israel stole the land, and ever since, Palestinians have simply been resisting. But what if everything we've been told about this story is untrue? What if the real history of 1948 shows not Arabs being forced out, but Jews, while seeking peace, having to fight for their survival against a genocidal enemy that willed its destruction long before Israel's re-establishment? Have a watch of the trailer for our new, groundbreaking and essential documentary entitled What Really Happened in 1948. And if you want to see the full film, just click the link in the video description. In 1948, the world witnessed the rebirth of the Jewish state, the State of Israel. A moment celebrated as a miracle of survival and self-determination after centuries of persecution and the horrors of the Holocaust. Yet for decades, this event has been twisted into a narrative of theft and catastrophe, with the so-called Nakba portrayed as Israel's original sin, where Jews allegedly stole Arab land and displaced innocents in a premeditated act of ethnic cleansing. But what if this story is fundamentally inverted? What if the cause and effect are the other way around? Not Israel aggressively seizing territory and Arabs responding in self-defense, but Arabs, driven by deep-seated hatred, rejecting the Jews' legal and historical rights to live in their ancestral homeland and waging a genocidal war long before Israel's re-establishment. In this JTV Plus documentary, we're going to uncover the unvarnished truth about 1948, the centuries of pogroms and anti-Semitic violence that set the stage, the Arab leaders' explicit calls for extermination, and the defensive war Israel fought to secure its existence. We'll challenge the pervasive lies head-on, showing how Arab rejection of peace wasn't about creating a Palestinian state, but about denying Jews the right to live at all. From the Nazi-allied leader of the Arabs in Palestine, the Mufti al-Husseini, to the forgotten occupations by Jordan and Egypt, when no Palestinian state was even considered, this is the story of a conflict rooted not in displacement, but in whether the Jews deserve to live in their homeland. Join us as we debunk the myths with facts, confront the historical record fairly but firmly, and reveal why 1948 was not an act of aggression, but a righteous response to annihilation. This is what really happened in 1948. To watch this JTV Plus documentary and access much more premium content, click on the link in the video description.